What about the other side?
At 20 to 5 yesterday, they announced the offices today would be closed, and you can see the sign behind me. And we've got a group of protesters have turned up today. Some opposed to ground racing, and many more who support ground racing, but we all agree on one thing: there are questions that need answering. Everybody's here today calling for a forensic audit of the Ground Board of Great Britain and the British Ground Racing Fund. Are you here to support the forensic audit? Thank you for coming. I've got Ricky Holloway, the chairman of the GTA, with me here. Ricky's currently on sick leave, but he still supports the cause. Ricky, would you like to say why you're here today, please?
I'd just like to say I was a director of the Gbgb, carrying out my duties. I was coming across some figures at the board meeting, which I saw 800,800 and 15,000 paid to ground staff for IT costs and other expenses, which I didn't think was right coming out of the ground fund. I raised the question, sent an email in. When I got to the board meeting, I was basically abused, called a vile piece of human scum for raising the questions, told I was to be one of them and forget about the GTA, and I was just basically totally abused, and I've never been treated by such individuals in my entire life working career. We've had 8 years of misery, and Barry Faulkner as a CEO has done absolutely nothing, and we've basically got 7 promoters on the board doing what they want. Tom Kelly trying to keep it all together. He's had no funds in, but to be honest with you, they've already got the promised 3 million, so he's got nothing else. It needs a good 15 to 20 million in, otherwise the industry is basically, in my opinion, in very much dire straits. You can't carry on like this much longer with no promotion of our sport. Owners and trainers are leaving. My trainers are really, really suffering. And the kennel hands are not getting, recognised, money, anything. And to be honest with you, they're having to buy their own dogs. And basically, this is not a sport anymore. It's an insult what we're going through.
Linda, why are you here today?
I'm here today because I care deeply about our sport. I would really want to see a forensic audit, and I would like it now, because there are things that are not right within our sport. We need to put welfare at the very, very top. People need to work. That's why I came into the sport, because I love the dogs, and I will do anything for the ground welfare. If we don't get something done now, it's going to be too late. There'll be no grounds, no ground racing, no trainers, extra people on the dole and looking for jobs. What's going on, we need to sort.
So we're fighting for the future of ground racing then?
We are fighting for the future of the greyhounds and for our sport. It's so important to come and support what we're doing. I mean, the thing is, this has cost me money to come here today, and I don't ask for it back. I know I won't get it, but it's worth it to me to make sure that the greyhound welfare is at the very, very top of everyone's agenda.
And you'd ask for all owners and trainers to support us?
Oh, absolutely. If they don't come and support us, there'll be no sport in 5 years. It may even happen sooner than that. And if we don't do something now, no greyhound racing, no beautiful greyhounds, and then what?
Things need to be looked into. Things are not right. And I say exactly what one of my fellow trainers said. Where's all the money going? Where's all the money going? Tell me. Because it's not coming back into prize money or welfare, and these issues need to be addressed immediately. The sooner we have a forensic audit, the better for the sport. Just to clear the air. There's a total lack of transparency, and that's why I need to be here today to show my support.
What would you say to your fellow owners and trainers that have been afraid to come, frightened about getting involved? Would you ask them to come?
Frightened of what? What are they frightened of? We should be united in all this. It's not about me, it's not about you, it's about the sport. We should be here supporting our sport. These people, I consider, I'm not saying they're ripping the sport, we just want to know where the money's going. That's what we need to know.
Basically, I suppose I represent the potential new owner to the sport. I've recently bought a bitch. I really only came into the sport a year ago. I've bought a bitch, spent good money. Can I put her into the system at the moment? No, I don't think I can. Everything I read, everything I see, the fact I come here today and they've closed up shop, claiming they're doing it for an exercise is just a joke. It tells you everything you need to know, surely. So I've spent good money on a dog. I'm building kennels to Gbgb standard, but I'm flapping. And I live in the southwest, so I have to travel wherever we're going to race. But, you know, I'm new. I can only imagine what people who've spent their whole lives in this sport feel like at the moment. I have a mentor, as it were, who lives 10 miles away from me, who's helping with my dogs. He's building kennels. He's 40 years old. He's desperate to be a trainer. He's sat watching, hoping that something's going to happen at Swindon. He's sat watching tracks close. He daren't come because he wants to put in for a licence. So I've got to come as a face for him as much as anything, even if I didn't want to come on my own, which I did anyway. Something has to change.
What changes would you like to see?
Well, I have to go with what people with the knowledge are saying. There has to be a forensic examination of the case. For Mr. Bird to say that only happens after a crime has been found and committed is just total nonsense. That is the biggest load of idiotic nonsense you're ever going to hear. Forensic audits will find the things that are wrong. Can you have a governing body of any sport with so many self-interests? No, you can't. Can you have a governing body where people sit on a board who are shutting tracks down? No, you can't. You have a comment in the Racing Post the other day where the Gbgb are saying they're not happy about the closing of Wimbledon, and yet one of the board members is the leaseholder and has closed it. It's just a farce. Sorry, you know, I'm a country boy. I'm fairly simple, but you don't have to be a city dweller to see that that's just a joke.
Somebody else who's turned up today, a long-established owner, Peter Mumford. Can you please tell us why you've come here today, Peter?
Yeah, well, basically, we're just fed up with the lack of transparency in the way that greyhound racing's run. You know, there's suggestions of nepotism and corruption, and I think people just want to know what the truth is. You know, I hope that they have an audit, and that the audit doesn't find anything's wrong, and that the sport can move forward in a fully transparent manner. You know, if we do find things wrong, there's got to be dealt with. But, you know, let's just hope that everything can be above board and that the sport can move forward from now. I think the board should be accountable, and I think elections should be held for the officers of the Greyhound Board. And that's why I've come along today, because I think that's important for the future of the sport.
I'm joined by another person who's made a long journey today. I believe you were actually up at 2 o'clock this morning.
2 o'clock this morning, yep. Set off this morning, 2 o'clock. Had to get here, couldn't miss this today. Had to come and show my support, because I think that is wrong what the Gbgb are doing. For a start, it's closed. Good start, isn't it? You know what I mean? A governing body closing on the day. A forensic audit's needed, and it's needed soon, because things are going wrong in this sport, and the sport's dying. It's losing its way. It's lost its way, and if something's not done soon, it's going to cease, and that's a sad day. That's why I've made the trip, because I believe in coming to greyhound racing, and sadly it's gone. And the people who's made it go know they are, and they're all working here, all of them. And like, we want an audit, and we want an audit now. And then we want them sorted. We want an election to vote people who we want to take the sport forward. Not this crew in here. And basically that's all I've got to say. Thank you very much.
Can you tell us who you are and why you're here today, please?
All right, well, I'm Bob Oakes. I'm a greyhound owner. This is my daughter Kimberly, who's had shares in our dogs. And this is Sophia, whose best friend is a greyhound. She's already been to Swindon a couple of times and Toaster racing and knows the dogs at home. And we love greyhound racing, we love the sport, and we'd like to see it continue, and in a transparent way that everyone knows what's going on. The sport is struggling. We all know it's financially in trouble, but we just like to see how the money that's coming in is spent properly and for the benefit of basically trainers. I'm all right, I'm an owner, I can walk away from the sport, I can decide what I spend, but for those that are relying on the sport for their livelihood, I think it must be a terrible position to be in, where they have no idea of what's going on, no transparency, and I think things have to change. You know, it's the modern world now. People can't continue like they have been going on. We have a tradition in this country that we allow peaceful protest. People have the right to voice their views. From the suffragettes onwards, we have green and peace protests and that. That's a thing that's part of the culture and the framework of this country. So to actually shut your offices and not be there when people you are responsible for, your mission statement says that you're there to control the sport and be accountable to the licence holders and the general public, and then not turn up, not be there when someone's giving you a petition to give a view on how you run the sport. I just find it staggering. It would be funny if it wasn't a serious body.
We are here today to peacefully hand over a petition of around 1,000 signatures of big owners, small owners, and big trainers, small trainers, of kennel hands and welfare organisations and more. This petition is to demand a forensic audit of the records of the Gbgb and the BGRF. Why? Because, as people like Rab McNair have said, where has the money gone? EFRA were told TV rights payments made by Bags had doubled to 27 million per year. Have owners and trainers seen any of these funds? Have you? Let's have an independent forensic audit that checks and confirms that the governance of this industry is equal to or greater than expected of an authority regulating an industry that turns over more than 2.5 billion per year.
I'm old enough to remember it in the 60s and 70s, and it's a totally different sport now, and there's no reason why it should have fallen like this other than mismanagement. So I think we have to do what we can to keep it going.
Okay.
I want my little girl here, my little granddaughter, to have a dog running in the future.
I hope the Gbgb and the BGRF, the media and the government will listen to our very reasonable demands and help deliver a swift, independent forensic audit so that we can all move forward together. And thank you for listening, and thank you for being here today. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you.